Hi, everybody. This is Jeremy Siskin. I'm the author of these books, Playing Solo Jazz Piano and your Jazz Piano Fundamentals series. And I'm here with kind of a legend in both the jazz music, piano, jazz education world, and a new friend of mine. Hi, Rob Mullins. How are you?
Jeremy, how's it going, man?
Doing great. So you're here because you're promoting a new project, but maybe just before you do that, can you give some of the highlights of your career? What are some things that people should know about you that they might know you from?
Well, I have a shameless plug here somewhere as well. Let me see.
Great, please. That's
Uh,
why we're here after all.
I know where have I put it? Let's see. Uh, I am looking for it now. I'm not seeing it come up in the browser window, but I actually have some books out as well. I've got four books out, and one of them is a Hal Leonard book. I think we both were on Hal Leonard at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And what's I think for most of my material, especially the one after that voicing book, which did really well, uh, the difference in my my excuse me, in my book line is that everything has play along tracks or audio.
Nice.
So I've got a beginner's book for kids called Let's Play Jazz, and it's all play alongs. I have a book on the blues step by step. I have a rhythm section and rhythm changes book where there's an etude over rhythm changes in all 12 keys.
Nice. Love it.
And you can find all that stuff at my website, which I seem to have closed the I seem to have closed the window on. Oh, here we go. Let me go back to the screen share here. But I don't know about high points to my career. I mean, I'm still I'm still happy to be doing this after all these years. I've been doing it for a while, and that's exciting for me to still have a career, especially post pandemic. Here's the book page. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's blues step by step. Let's play jazz piano etudes, and then on down the page here is the Amazon book by the Amazon bestseller that I did on Hal Leonard. And I don't know how you got your book deal. I'll tell you a quick story about how I got mine.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm playing at a place, this is years ago, called Spaghettini, which is in Seal Beach.
I was there 3 days ago.
And we're doing the happy hour gig before doing in those days, the band would play happy hour and then do the show. And there were these three really loud, drunk women in the front. And my bass player, Melvin Davis, who's extremely famous, Pointer Sisters and Lee Ritenour and all these people, he's up there and he's playing these incredible bass solos. And the jokes about bass solos is that's when everybody starts to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting madder and madder because these ladies are starting to drown him out. And they're right in front of him sitting at the table. So as he gets more and more frustrated, we take a break. He storms out of the club. And, I walk over to the ladies, and it's the head of Yamaha Education. It's the person that does the disclavier, press releases. And all three of these ladies are just basically really blasted, but they're celebrating the birthday of one of the ladies. And I'm just chatting with them and stuff. And they said, "Oh, yeah, Rob, we've heard of you. And we know about your disclavier release of your greatest hits and everything. And here's our business card." So I called the next day to the person who had connected me for the legal licensing of my material on the disclavier thing. And they said, "Do you have any books you want to publish?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I do."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I ended up getting a book out on Hal Leonard, is by, some people getting way too inebriated and trying to make my best out of a situation where my bass player was going to quit the band. So
So what's
that's
the
how
lesson? What's the lesson there?
the lesson is try and make the best out of any negative situation you end up in.
I like it. Great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
So,
do you want to say something about your new solo piano album that's coming out?
yeah, I can. The album is called Wise Man and the Ballerina. And it's an improvisational record where I basically just sit down and play. I've done 3 other albums in that sort of a fashion, and I'm a big fan of the music of the late 70s and the early 80s and ECM records where guys would just sit down and play whatever they were feeling and not really being very mathy or very structured, but just doing improvisational things, trying to tune into whatever the musical source is, wherever it is that music comes from. And a lot of people think of that in different ways. But for me, I've always had this feeling of when a song or a project is ready to start, it's like having somebody tapping me on the shoulder and saying, go into the studio and start playing because I am the music and I am ready to be born. You know, it's really a lot like that. So I wouldn't call this album a jazz record at all. And it's not a traditional kind of new age record either. It's just you know, me trying to let the music happen, more like
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So Wise Man and the Ballerina, is that right?
Wise Man and the Ballerina.
And
It
that's going to
came
be on
out.
all your streaming platforms where music can be found?
Yeah, it came out on February the 10th and is already doing well and getting a lot of really good comments and a lot of long songs in there. The first track is called Dancer's Dream. I have a long history of working with dance companies. My oldest sister was a famous choreographer, and I did a lot of shows with her in the 80s and the 90s, and got to really appreciate ballet and modern dance and fine art through her. So it's more of kind of an artsy solo thing. It's definitely not me sitting down trying to play stride piano, which is something I saw that you do really well, and I really don't do well.
Thanks.
I'm not a stride piano kind of guy.
Speaking of things that you do well, you've promised to show me an exercise that you like, and I'm so curious to hear and see what you're going to come up with. So, do you
Okay.
mind?
No, I don't mind at all, and I have one here. Uh, I'm going to pull it up on screen,
Great. And I'll go
and
to this view in case I'm going to play.
okay. And if anyone wants to download this exercise and work on it when they're watching the video, it's online and it's at planetmullins.com/60.pdf. Okay. So I'm a firm believer in only doing exercises that you're going to use on a gig. You know, I'm 90% about that because when I was younger and looking at the Hannon books and things like that, I just didn't see how I was ever going to, you know, use any of that stuff on a show.
Sure.
But this exercise is based on the 5 chord types in jazz piano, the major 7, the dominant, the minor 7, the minor 7 flat 5, and the full diminished.
Okay.
And what I did is I turned that into an arpeggio between the 2 hands. Can you hear me?
Not great.
Okay, well, I'll just go back to the sound share
I'm
in
happy to play
Logic.
this for you if you like. Would that be the easiest thing?
Yeah, that might be the
Okay,
easiest
let's do
if you
it.
play it.
So, I feel like Debussy. I'm guessing that comes next.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, it
Thank you.
says right here in this paragraph, uh, you can play this as a warm-up exercise and play it at a rapid tempo with pedal. You will sound like Debussy. It's
Oh,
right
great.
there,
Perfect. It's that
right
easy.
there. So, so it really is one of those things that's kind of fun to do. You know, the tempo you were doing it at is great, and let me get my foot on a pedal here. And all it is just very simple math and music theory. But when my students play this at home and they start speeding it up, then all of a sudden the spouse says, that sounds so great. Maybe you'll get a budget to do the lessons again next month.
There you go. So I'm curious, you led into this by saying that you only want to do exercises that you can use on a gig. So how would you use this on a gig?
Well, I would play it something, let's say if I had a, uh, let's say I'm doing something with a cellist and they're playing a melody and the cello melody is in C to F major and goes something like behind them I could play spread it out a little bit.
Good, and just to demonstrate for everybody, you're doing something like, so you're taking that same idea of the arpeggio up and down, but instead of having these kind of closed position chords in either hand, now you're really moving that up to a more sophisticated voicing.
Yeah, and if the melody were D, then I could expand it like that. That sort of a thing.
Yeah, I'm curious just because I want to hear you play more. Could you show us on a standard? Could you show us on a ballad? How would you do that?
Oh, I would just do that in the intro.
Okay.
I'd probably use as the intro. Sort of an idea, and you can do it this way. That type of deal.
Oh, cool. So putting like the pinky melody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I try that? I'm curious. So.
Well, of course you can. It's your show.
I just want a free mini lesson.
Exactly.
I'm too low.
You're fine. You're fine. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you're not thinking really metrically when you do that. It's not thinking, oh, these are 16th notes or these are 32nd notes. It's just, I'm going to get from here to here in however long it takes. Or are you?
No. Yeah, I think one of the things that all of your viewers should know about me is that I came to the piano as not really as a classical student, but as a person listening to the radio. So it's a really different mindset than, I studied classical drumming and percussion for years, but for the piano, it was just a way to try and understand what's happening in radio, movies, and TV. And this exercise came from a Marx Brothers movie originally. And a lot of people don't realize that, the Marx Brothers, besides being great comedians, two of them, Chico and Harpo, were unbelievably virtuosic pianists.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. And so there's one episode about how Harpo became Harpo. And he and Chico are doing the dueling pianos thing. They're both sitting at Steinway. And Harpo was getting more and more frustrated with Chico playing better than him. And finally he gets so mad, he starts smashing the piano.
Okay.
And he's beating on it. And they're at a cocktail party in this nice mansion somewhere in New York City. And Harpo's getting more and more mad. He's kicking it. And pretty soon he's destroyed the entire piano and it's laying in pieces on the ground, and the whole crowd is completely shocked and nobody knows what to do. So he picks up the strings of the piano still connected to the pins and starts doing this.
Uh-huh.
And that's how he became Harpo Marx.
Ah, Harpo. I get it.
Harpo
Wow.
Marx. So,
I had no idea.
I think a lot of my approaches to the piano were very non-pianistic, and they come from unusual places. Just like this, here's something that's kind of a pop exercise. This is a drum rudiment called the paradiddle.
Uh-huh.
So our paradiddle is left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. And it's been used by Elton John and Billy Joel and everybody to death. So it's like, that sort of a thing.
I'd never connected the paradiddle with that kind of accompaniment. That's really interesting. So it's left, right, left, left, right. Ah. I think I messed it up in there.
Well, yeah, it is.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know Jeff Keezer is another pianist who apparently is into drum rudiments. I think he was like in marching band. You can kind of tell with the way that he kind of approaches some things percussively.
right. Yeah.
It's a really interesting study. Yeah.
Well, it's fun because I found that, growing up late 70s, 80s into the 90s, being able to play drums and then just moving that technique over to a clavinet or a Rhodes, you work all the time. Because if you can do those kinds of things, and then also as Chick and Jan Hammer and all these people started using the synthesizer and learning to bend things and the mod wheel and all of that stuff, then that's an easy, just another easy step and a way to go into that whole kind of world. Because in jazz and pop and reggae, and I really love reggae. I only have, I think, 2 reggae tunes out there, but I really love those styles of music in addition to jazz. And sometimes I get students that come to me and they just don't want to learn jazz at all.
Sure.
They're more about the singer-songwriter thing, or hit artist studies, like how do I play like Billy Joel, or how do I play like Elton John, that kind of a thing. So it's a big world out there, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you got 2 more reggae tunes out there than I do. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's
Rob, I feel like I could nerd out with you all day, and I hope that we do someday. But I should let you go. You've been very generous with your time. Plug your album one more time, and maybe say where people can find you, your website, all that jazz.
Yeah, I'll do all that stuff. The album, this is solo project number 42, so my 42nd album. It's called Wise Man and the Ballerina. It's on all the major platforms out there in digital format. And you can reach me at my website, planetmullins.com. There's an email address on there. And, check out my books and just drop me a note and say hello and give me the comments about the album or whatever you'd like.
And you have a podcast as well?
Yeah, actually, I do have a podcast, and I'm currently filming season 5.
Wow.
I've done 50 shows, and people would talk at such length that I finally had to start cutting it. Like, you do your show 15 to 20 minutes. I had to cut mine to 30 because I had some people came on and it was like, okay, an hour and 10 minutes, I get it. It's been a long, beautiful life for you. But I'm filming season 5 right now. I've got some great guests, and it's definitely something that I really love doing. I've been trying to just help people that don't understand the world of the Grammys to understand the world of the Grammys. Being a member of the Academy is an important part of my life, and as a nominated artist, it's an honor and a privilege to vote every year. So I use the podcast to expose people to nominees and people who have recently won, and just kind of give them a glimpse into that world. And every once in a while, I'll bump into a person like Leah Booth at some gig, and then just say, "Wow, this girl is incredible. Let me get her on here." And so it's local people too, but a lot of international stars as well. And that's available at YouTube/Planet Mullins, as you can find it there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today, and I
All
hope to
right,
see you around
Jeremy.
soon.
Nice meeting you, man.
Great
Take
to meet
care.
you as well.